Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Now 2 videos ago I showed you this one over here so I could make paper for this one. I have actually made a few sheets since then, but not a whole lot. Basically I just have the same one that I had before with the Mother Mary over there on top of that. And this is from a larger notepad that I have to cut down to size first before I can put it in here, so I kind of got bored of that. We'll eventually do all of them. But since I don't like extra work, I kind of left it at that. But then I went to the Action again, because that's like my favorite store. Lo and behold, they have these guys, and these are to-do lists, as you can see, with a lovely pattern. They have different patterns, but the main thing is they're all lined pages like this, and they're the perfect width for these guys over here. I'm just going to put it on top so you can kind of see what I mean. Kind of like bumped around a bit, but it's going to be about the right size, because of course I'm going to have to punch holes in it, and then everything's going to like move over a little bit, a couple of centimeters, not even centimeter, like half a centimeter, but that means I have more space over here. So I think that would be the perfect width, but of course it's longer than it needs to be. It needs to be about this long to this line here. I'm going to try to cut that. I didn't bring a pen or anything because that would be practical. Okay, so this line right about there. These, by the way, I got once because I thought I could use them, like carefully cut some strands of hair that were like out of place of my dog, and of course she tends to move around when I try to do that, so I thought I'd get some safety scissors so I wouldn't be able to poke her. They're really thick, so I can't really get to all the small places where I want to get whenever she has a knot somewhere. And I got one in a fox design and one in a frog design. They're really funny, so I just keep them up here for no particular reason, but for now it's handy to have that for this video, so I'm just going to put that over there. So we would have some stuff left over here, and you've already seen this guy laying over here. I'm thinking that I could use the rest of the paper for this. I think that's going to be perfect, because I'm going to cut this top a little bit off in order to get this page off of the rings, and then I'll use the top half for you and then the bottom half for you, and I think that's perfect. And since I hadn't actually gotten started in that, I thought I would do that during this video so you guys could watch and I could maybe chat a little bit. I'm going to put these guys aside because I need some space, you too. So I have scissors for cutting them. I also have this thing, you've kind of seen it in the background already. This is one of my favorites thrift store finds. It's got like a ruler and then this metal bar with a couple of these on here. These are blades. As you can see, it's got a little handle there, and then you got one over here that does serrated edges. When you like cut the paper with this, you get basically long cuts with small bits that are still connected, so you can easily tear it off of a larger page. So that's an option you can use. And then you got one that has a bit of a wobbly blade, so you can get like serrated edges kind of like wobbly as well, or not a serrated edge. The edge of the paper will be wobbly, kind of like a design thing, kind of fun. And then the last one is a regular straight blade, so just for cutting paper. So that's what I'm going to be using, and these guys can come off the end, I believe, so I don't have to constantly use them. But for that, they need to go this way. So I'm going to take the orange and the blue off, so I have the entire ruler for just this red one, which is the regular cutting apparatus. They can't come off this side because it has a little blockage over there, the little plastic bits. Can you guys even see that? I hope you can. So it can't go any further than this. Okay, so but it's open now, so I can cut stuff with it. So what I could do is I could take a page. Well, this I could probably just tear off. I'll tear off a few of them, so we can just cut those off. I know I got the scissors for it. But I'm just going to take a few pages off, and then we'll just do it with this thing because it's a lot easier. So we'll do that instead of having to do it manually. Okay, let's do a couple of demo pages. So we got a couple of these. I don't think I can cut 5 at once, so we're going to do one at a time. And then we have to cut them at the top, but also along the page. Where's the first page that I took off? Oh, it's this one up back here. So over there where I made that little cut is where we need to cut them, and of course the top. So I'm going to cut it along this line here at the top, and then I'm going to put it over here. It's got like a little ruler section, so I'm just going to put it like that and then go like that. Ta-da! We're going to do that, and then I need to put it up to this line, like that. I can just move it over, but when I want to cut it, I have to press it down and then move it across. And then we got an extra page. So we got one over here, and we got one over there. Like that. Okay, let's do that with these guys. So, anyway, last week I uploaded a video about stories that I had written based on the Rory Story Cube dice that I had rolled, basically. And I wanted to know if people were interested in hearing my NaNoWriMo progress. Let's see, it's this one over here. I have to pull you out of the way. Otherwise I'm cutting you along, which is not great. There you go. Didn't get a lot of people responding, but that's okay. That's fine. I'm just going to make sure to tag it well so that I know that people know what to look for if they're looking for NaNoWriMo content. It could also be that people just don't know what NaNoWriMo is, which is likely because if you're not really into writing, then you probably wouldn't have heard of it. So, like I said very quickly last time, NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. And basically it's a month, so all of November you have the time to write a story of about 50,000 words. You can go for less or more depending on how much you think you're going to write. And I do that every year. I've done that since 2010, so 14 years now. Oh, I got the other page here as well. Hello, I got 2 pages at once. That's very convenient. Yeah, I got 2 pages. Alright, so it cuts 2 pages. Good to know. Good. And so, yeah. And every year I come up with a different story. This is also 2 pages, I see. Gotta make sure that they line up properly then. And where does this one go? Like, what line is it on? It's basically on this thick one, just over it. Okay, good to know. Alright. Yeah, it doesn't really matter which side I use as long as it goes across. And every year I come up with a different story because I like to basically imagine new worlds and stuff like that. So I have cut a new story as well this year. This year I want to try my hand at a murder mystery, which I've not done before. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. And I wanted to quickly go and do a little rundown of what type of story I've got in mind. So it's going to be a murder mystery, and it's basically going to be like the setting is going to be very similar to Stardew Valley, if you guys have heard of that game. So like that setting, that town, not the exact copy of the town. I'm going to change all the names and probably some of the professions of people as well, so it's not like immediately visible that it is a Stardew Valley copy or fan story, I guess you would call that, like a fan fiction type of thing. Well, it's a murder mystery, so it's not really a fan fiction. It's not like I want people to get murdered in the town, but okay, so like basically that setting with those types of people, because I like the idea of a story like the Stephen King's Storm of the Century and Needful Things. Both of those stories took place in a small community which seemed from the outside to be tight, but then when real things start to happen or real weird things start to happen, the bonds between people are tested, and I think that's a very interesting idea when that happens. So my idea was that I'm going to have one person, of course, take out a bunch of other people, which is what the murder mystery is all about, obviously, and that person is probably going to be Mayor Lewis. And the reason why is not just because I don't like Mayor Lewis. I actually don't. Don't know if you've played the game. If you haven't played the game, Mayor Lewis, it's a small town. He collects taxes. You see him go to all the different places where people actually have a place of business. There aren't too many of them, but he shows up there. The rest of the time he just stands around downtown and visits Marnie, which is basically his girlfriend, even though he doesn't want people to know. I'm just going to do a bunch more and I'll talk about this actually. So, he goes around, collects taxes, but when you arrive there as the player, you arrive there as the new farmer in town because you inherited the farm of your grandpa, and you're just there and you're just doing your own farm thing or getting used to the farm thing because you're not used to that. You used to work in an office. So this is all new to you, and you end up in this town where things don't work. There's broken bridges. There is basically the mine had a elevator system taking you to different floors. That doesn't work anymore. There's the bus that doesn't go. And there's all sorts of things that's broken. The community center that I used to have is completely in ruin. And Mayor Lewis knows about all this. He even shows you the community center and what a terrible state it's in. And he'll sigh about it, but he doesn't do anything. And that's kind of like weird. And a lot of people don't like Mayor Lewis for that particular reason, myself included, because if you get to know the game a little better, spoilers, if you want to play the game and you don't want things spoiled, then skip ahead a few seconds, because maybe a minute or so, so you don't hear what I'm about to say. In any case, after a while of playing, you start getting secret notes, and one of the secret notes leads you to a location on the map that is just behind Mayor Lewis's house. And when you look around over there, you find a statue made out of solid gold, and it's in Mayor Lewis's image. So basically all the gold that he's been collecting from people, he's basically used to make a statue glorifying himself. And meanwhile, nothing's getting fixed. The economy in town is terrible. People are dirt poor. There's actually a family living right next door to him who lives in a trailer, not even a house. And it's pretty obvious that they're not able to survive much. The mother of the household, it's a single mother household. She used to be the bus driver. She could have been gainfully employed had the bus been fixed, but actually the bus is not fixed, and according to some people it's been years, and according to other people, Mayor Lewis himself, I believe it's been decades, so it's not entirely sure how long the bus has been out of commission, but at the very least she doesn't have a job, so all she does is give in to her vice, which is drinking, and that does not help things, of course. And the daughter who lives there, it's a mother-daughter home, she helps to teach the children in town. There's two children there called Vincent and Jazz, and she's the only educator in town. There's no schoolhouse. The school books that they use are super old and tattered, and Mayor Lewis knows this, and actually gives Penny some type of small compensation for this educational work that she's doing, but it's not enough to cover the bills, basically. So Pam's drinking up all the money that she does have, maybe from some type of, I don't know what income she has, maybe even Penny's money, I have no idea. And Penny's not able to make enough money for the entire household with what money she gets from Lewis for basically being the only teacher of the two kids in town. So he's not doing anything with the money that he collects that is good for the actual community. This one did not cut through 3, I guess. It was a little bit too much for him. Hello? Why are you not cutting through this last bit? There we go. Alright, very good. So, I don't like him. A lot of people don't like him for that reason. So, that's why I picked him as the murderer. And the reason why he's going to be murdering people is because he really, really wants the governor to look kindly upon him, and of course the community. Basically, he wants the community to look good so that he looks good, and that means that things have to improve. And with the way things are, that's not improving fast enough for his liking. So what he's going to do is he's going to look around one day and go, there's a lot of people here who aren't actually really contributing to the town coffers. Let's maybe do something about that. Starting with a vagrant that lives in a house just outside of town. Now, in the game, this small abandoned house is inhabited by a character called Hat Mouse. It's like a human-sized mouse that sells hats. It's like a thing that's in the game. I don't know why, but it's there. Of course, in the story, I'm not going to have life-sized, at least human-sized mice walking around selling hats. So that's going to be the house of a vagrant. Nobody really knows them. They just moved in one day because the house was derelict and nobody was using it. So they just kind of used that as shelter and stuff like that. Nobody really talks to this man. He's going to end up disappearing. And he's going to have been gone for some time before the story starts, like the book starts. And they won't really come back up into conversation much later down the line when people are like, hey, wait, what about that guy? Why haven't we seen him in a long time? Like that type of thing, which is really unfortunate that happens for people who are like homeless, that most people don't tend to notice them until they've been gone for some time or they're doing something that they don't like. Anyway, so that's going to be victim number 1. And victim number 2 is going to be that very same former bus driver, Pam. And because Lewis doesn't like the trailer next to his house. He doesn't like the trailer anywhere in town because it looks poor, it makes the town look poor, it makes him look bad. So he doesn't want any of that. So he's going to make it seem like she had an accident. She's going to be coming home from the bar, which is pretty much right next to the trailer. And she's going to end up missing the trailer and ending up in the river that's right next to the house. It's also a great place to put the trailer of an alcoholic, but okay, so that's where her trailer is. She's going to end up being pulled out of the water. That's going to be basically the first page of the story. I don't want to give the entire story away, and it's kind of like going through my reasoning on how things might go in the story. So that's victim number 1. And then I'm just going to go through the rest of town one by one, like who would be the next person whom they would not like. And I think one of the people that he's going to go after is going to be the artist Leah. Because even though a lot of like theory videos about this game note that Leah is an artist and that means she is employed, the fact of the matter is most artists do not actually sell much, if anything. And in the game as well, Leah doesn't actually start selling her artwork until she gets romantically involved with the player character, and the player character gives her the motivation to do so. If you don't get romantically involved with her, then you actually don't see her sell anything. She doesn't display her work. She keeps talking about how she likes to forge things and how much the value is like nice or whatever, has good vibes, etc, etc. But she doesn't actually do anything other than that. So if you're not romantically involved, she doesn't make any money. So she's basically like economically not viable. So I think Lewis is going to notice that at some point and think, you know what, that house could be sold to somebody who actually has a job and who's going to spend some time, or spend money in any case, contributing to our local economy in any case. So that's probably what he's going to go do. He's going to go down the list of the people who live in town and look at how much they bring to the town. And if it's not a whole lot, then that's going to be too bad for them, but they're probably going to end up disappearing. Like, that's basically the idea behind the whole story. And in the game, you have this corporation called Jojo Marts that come in, that like is forming a competition for the local grocer, Pierre, because they're basically like a large Walmart type store, which of course small mom and pop stores cannot compete against. I'm thinking that in this game though, or this game, the story that I'm going to be writing, I'm going to not have it be Jojo Mart, I'm going to have it be a large mining corporation, because the mines have been closed for a while and nobody's really doing anything in it, and the player character is going to be, there's going to be a farmer there, but it's not going to be like they're super on the ball like the player is when they're playing the game. They're not going to be like main character syndrome type thing. They're going to be a lot more in the background. They will be growing some food, of course. Looks like I need to maybe cut a little bit off the edge here. Yeah, I need to cut like a centimeter or so off of the side. Let's see how much that is. If I put it on here, this line. Alright, the line that goes about here with the 30. I'll do that as well while I continue to talk. So, the farmer is not going to be the hero in this story. Rather, I think that a character called Linus is going to be the main hero, because Linus is a vagrant of sorts. He is going to be... Is this really the right line? Is that right? I'll just cut a few and then I'll take another look. Since he is kind of like outside of town and doesn't tend to interact much with people, he also has an outside perspective while being kind of self-sufficient. He's not in the way. He lives in a tent that's not visible when people come to town. Like when tourists show up, they don't go up there, so they don't ever see Linus. And that means he's not necessarily in the way. He tends to spend most of his time staying out of the way anyway. Yes, you need much more than that. Alright, very good. So Linus has the outside perspective and nobody really pays attention to him, so he's actually going to be outside of Lewis's scope for most of the time. Maybe later when Lewis starts to suspect that Linus suspects something, he'll be in trouble. But before then, he's going to be fine, and he's going to see things happening. He's going to probably have known the other vagrant because he has a similar lifestyle, but he has different philosophy than the vagrant will have, because vagrant is literally just somebody who is homeless and doesn't want to be, whereas Linus is somebody who enjoys not being bound by, I guess, what society deems a normal, fruitful life. So different ideas, same type of living situation, but he's going to know what's going on before anybody else does. So he's going to end up probably putting everything together and maybe trying to alert some people. How I'm going to put everything together, I don't know, because like I said, I've never written a murder mystery before, and it seems like just me trying to figure out what it is that I need to come up with, like people's background stories and stuff like that. I think it's going to be more than one book worth of writing. Oh, you're loose. Okay, good. So maybe it's going to be 2 books, and who knows, maybe a third. See, the thing is that I also need to come up with a lot of background stuff. Like I said, I like it to be something like a setting like Needful Things or Storm of the Century. If you've never read those books or seen the movies, they're basically small town settings. I think one of them's on an island, which is kind of like the same thing as living in a small valley town that has basically no direct connection to anything nearby. I mean, there is Zuzu City in the distance, but I feel like the bus takes a while to get there, so it's not like you're going to be there in a couple hours. It's going to take a little longer than that. And a couple hours can be a very long time if like things are really going crazy in your small town and there's nobody there to contact directly. So people will have to rely on each other. And often there is like this ecosystem that happens in small towns. People know things about each other, and there's also things that they don't know about each other, which could turn out to be pretty shocking. Stephen King's Storm of the Century, like I said, is on an island. This strange person appears, and they basically start divulging everybody's secrets. And nobody really wants that, obviously, so they're like, oh my god, who is this guy? And, oh, what he's saying is not true, right? So he's like going around trying to find somebody who is honest and truthful. And then it basically turns out that almost nobody is, because that weird character is some type of mystical being, some immortal creature of some sort. And he's looking for somebody to take his place. Maybe trying to keep people in the world honest. I don't really know what his role is, but he's going around telling everybody secrets, and everybody's kind of like denying it, stuff like that, which causes a lot of trouble because people thought they could rely on each other, and then eventually it turns out that that's sense of community was actually razor thin. So that's Storm of the Century. And in Needful Things, it's a similar type of setting, like it's a small town. This person shows up with a new store, and it starts selling things that people really want. And this person who's selling these things is like, oh, if you want this, I can give it to you for free, but then you also need to do this or that for me, or something along those lines. Or they start like tempting them with items, and if they take the item, then bad things start to happen to them because they've been like kind of coveting things, I guess. So that's also not a great thing. And a lot of people start turning on each other there as well. So I guess I want like a community type story where people turn on each other because it turns out that the sense of community that they had was mostly based on the fact that things were going well. And as soon as things started going badly, people's patience start running dry. And then we see all sorts of terrible things coming to the surface, basically. That's the whole idea. So that is quite a lot of talking, but now I have this little stack here for you, and I have this little stack here for you. I'll put you over there. So that is nice. I have a bit of extra paper for both of these. I enjoy that, and it's something that I tend to put off for a long time for some reason. So now I've also just kind of forced myself to get to it, and now I have extra paper for both, which is nice. And I've told you my plans for NaNoWriMo, so hopefully you will be interested in following my progress with that. I think I'll just do like a weekly video, kind of like updating you on the progress and how the writing process is going, and maybe like reading a small excerpt from what I've written that week or something along those lines. So let me know if you're interested in that. If not, we'll just do some more crafting and planning stuff. That's also fine. And I'll just do maybe 1 or 2 videos on NaNoWriMo, because during November, That's basically all my mind's going to be thinking about, like the story. So it's going to be a little bit less easy for me to do other types of content. So my mind will be there. So I will drop 1 or 2 videos about it. And then the other 2 videos, I guess, during that month will be on something else. But we'll take a look what that turns out to be. Anyway, for now, I want to thank you for watching and listening. I hope to see you in another video. And bye-bye for now.